Just a few days ago, the first 3 episodes of Paradise Season 2 dropped on Hulu, and as someone who really enjoyed Season 1, I've got some thoughts. Spoilers for Season 2 are to follow. Episode 1, titled Graceland, follows a new character named Annie, played by Shailene Woodley. Annie is a nurse turned tour guide at Elvis's Graceland when the world ends. We then spend the majority of the episode watching her survival on the mainland during the ensuing years. It goes in depth in terms of general world building, but I find myself having far more questions than answers on how she managed to survive this long. The second half of the episode, she encounters a group of traveling survivors, and by she encounters, I mean they encounter her. It was certainly refreshing to see that her character wasn't taken advantage of by this group, and in large, they were a pretty okay group of dudes. That group of dudes ends up leaving with a promise of their leader Finn to come back for Annie, and of course we have to jump into the future and just add a sprinkle more of drama with the fact that she is pregnant and can ride horses. Episode 2 is titled Mayday, and we finally get to see our main character, Xavier's crash back to reality. He has to battle the elements and his tribe of kids to stay alive. The kids group turns out to grow fond of Xavier, who has flashbacks of what he has left back in the bunker while he searches for his wife. I think it's certainly a sad visual to see the group of kids on their own, and it once again does a nice job of doing some world building. Episode 3 is titled Another Day in Paradise, and we have finally reached the story that moves the plot forward. Slightly. Sinatra finally wakes up from her, let's call it slumber, and isn't really keen on President Bain's new agenda, which is to find out everything that Sinatra is doing and why she's drawing more energy. Robinson is starting to catch on that Jane is not to be trusted, just in time for her to conveniently walk into the bloody back of President Baines so she can now be charged and not Jane. Overall, one gripe I've always had with this show is it just kind of feels like some of this stuff is too convenient, and there was a moment of it there. Okay, that was the Spark Notes though, so what are some of my other thoughts? Well, in short, I'm not really loving this season. Of the bunch of episodes, I actually think the first one is my favorite. However, with that said, episode 1 and 2 are definitely just world-building, side quest, filler episodes. I think I wouldn't feel as much that way if they were reordered. Episode 3, Xavier is never used. He's just mentioned a few times, so they didn't need to put those 2 filler episodes right next to each other. They had no importance of us to understand the plot moving forward. After you watch those 2 episodes, it feels like you wasted 2 hours trophy hunting rather than finishing the game. The big question for the initial part of this season, from what I can tell, is what is Sinatra up to and her energy, and she's still seizing power, and is Jane still doing her dirty work? And honestly, I don't care. I think I got so bogged down in the first 2 episodes, feeling like stuff we have already seen time in and time out of just filler episodes, that when you go back to the main story, I had lost my interest. We are totally changing this show from a murder mystery to a survival thriller, which isn't bad, but oh yeah, we also have way less of our lead actor, Sterling K. Brown. Will I continue to watch? Yes. Will I do weekly reviews? I'm not sure. That was my intention. However, after watching the first 3 episodes, if I have more thoughts, I'll certainly get behind the mic. And if you guys would like to hear more or like to talk about it more, let me know in the comments and we can certainly do that. But overall for me, 3 episodes into season 2, it has way too many pit stops for character drama versus driving the story bus right to the next stop. But that is my thoughts on the first 3 episodes of Paradise Season 2. I'd love to hear yours in the comments below. I'm not really sure where a lot of people stand on this one. I've kind of seen it both ways. Make sure you like and subscribe as we're continuing to work our way towards our goal of 1,000 subscribers by Avengers Doomsday. We thank you for watching, and now that you've got some time, you can go refill that popcorn bucket.